There is a new premium EV to the market with the Lexus RZ, the first Lexus electric vehicle on a dedicated EV platform. How good is it? We'll find out here with Thomas and Autogefühl for you in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go here with the front design, which is from the basic form, kind of resembling to the Lexus RX or to the NX definitely. So it has the Lexus design language, just that the grille is all the way closed because not so much cooling is needed for these electric vehicles. This is here this dual tone copper paint. Very interesting color, definitely also with different light nuances. We also have some other colors for you today. For example, a very interesting light blue called Ether, or also a white vehicle. Or what about a rather dark gray one? And finally also one in black. Which one would be your choice? Tell me. And of course, world news here also, premiere of the new steer-by-wire system. So you don't have a mechanical link from the steering wheel to the wheels. This will be super crucial to test here today. The new one versus the classic old one. We'll do that for you and tell you which one is better, and also if it's better than the Tesla yoke system. Look at that. 150 degrees left, 150 degrees right on the steering wheel means full lock left, full lock right on the wheels. This is this new technology. Wow, looking forward to it. The length is at 4 meters 80 or 189 inches, and that means it is about 11 centimeters or 4 inches longer than the siblings, the Toyota bZ4X and the Subaru Solterra. Yes, they share the same platform, so technologically they are pretty similar, but Lexus has some news here for us. They have different things actually, both exterior technology and also an interior, which they do differently than the siblings indeed. And then the wheels, 18 or here 20-inch wheels. These are the optional bigger ones. And all-wheel drive, one electric motor in the front, one electric motor in the rear. And the overall sprint is 5.3 seconds to 1 kilometer or 62 miles an hour. However, the front electric motor is the stronger one. Look at the sculptural design here. Dropping line 1, dropping line 2, and they form this curved in area here together with this copper color. Really beautiful to look at. Talking battery size, there is this number of 71 kilowatt hours, but that is the gross figure. The real usable one is 64 kilowatt hours net. This is of course not too much. And why is that? Toyota and Lexus, they have both a rather conservative approach to it, and it is pro and con for the customer. So you can't use too much of the battery, means lower range. On the other hand, they have this big buffer and also somewhat limited fast charging capabilities because they want to preserve the battery for the customer. And they say that after 10 years of usage, you will be able to still use 90% of the capacity, and they even guarantee for 10 years that you are in 70% of the battery capacity. So 70% is what they guarantee, 90% what they even expect. So the thing is, on the cost of range and fast charging capabilities, you get rather higher or longer durability. What do you think about this trade-off? So DC charging is maximum 150 kilowatt, and that means 30 minutes from 10 to 80% state of charge. This will only happen in nice temperatures, maybe spring, summer, and when you already powered the car, that the battery is already warm. However, Lexus now did some updates in comparison to the Toyota bZ4X that is actually a little bit quicker also in colder temperatures, and it's also easier to recharge the car multiple times after each other. And then later on, also the Toyota model will profit from this development. In the rear, beautiful consistent design here with the light strip going all the way through. So I think it does have a premium look, doesn't it? And by the way, this 5.3 seconds acceleration figure from this RZ 450e Direct 4, that's the full name, is by the way a second quicker than the all-wheel drive version of the Toyota. So it's also something that Lexus gets more out of this platform, or is allowed to take from this platform. But now our German friends have to be very, very strong, because the top speed is 160 kilometers an hour or 100 miles per hour. For us Germans, that's really tough to swallow. This is the key fob. Oh, it's test vehicle number 2. You know, number 2, second, is always the first loser, they say in racing. Then door closing sound. Yeah, that's a winner actually. Nice door closing sound. And on the inside, this is here the trim with the ultra suede. So there's a microfiber surface. Really nice, looks cool, feels cool. Top part here is somewhat soft touch as well. Also good quality at the inside of the doors. This is here the door release. You just press it. That's like an electric helper. But if you want pure manual, you would pull this one here twice. So this is then the failsafe, so to speak. And there will also be a failsafe for the steering wheel, not a mechanical one like they used to have with the Infiniti when they introduced it. Here, this is always electric, full way, 150 degrees to the right, 150 degrees to the left. That's it. And this is actually how it's supposed to be. Not like with the Tesla yoke where you have to steer all the way around. This is how it should work. And the failsafe is actually another electric system that when the first electric system fails, the second one is there for you that you can still steer. What do you think about this? So we really see technology history in the making here today. Infiniti started it with the Q50 and the Q60, first steer-by-wire, but then they had a mechanical failsafe. Tesla has this yoke steering wheel, but still a normal steering column. And they also have a long way to turn, so it's not really good in parking in and out and so on. Lexus combines all these technologies, steer-by-wire, and no mechanical failsafe, but just electrical failsafe, and also really reducing the steering way, the overall range of motion, ROM, usually you know that like from the gym or something, is 300 degrees. So left 150, right 150, and then the wheels turn all the way. And first impressive result is stationary. We will also see how it is in driving. And about the seats, this is very interesting. These here are the microfiber seats, ultra suede, really nice and cozy, looks cool, feels cool, and the seating position is really very comfortable indeed. Good shoulder support as well. And you also have, as an alternative, full leatherette seats. They are called Nulux in the US or Tahara in the UK. And they are available in different colors, fitting to the exterior color. For example, here with the blue and the bluish note. That looks amazing indeed. Or more subtle, gray, darkish note. Or if you want it really rather screaming out, a full brown leatherette interior. And all really great from the interior quality and from the comfort. And also the microfiber interior here is also available in beige, for example. Look at that. That is really my favorite thing. I know it's a little bit maybe extravagant or something. It's something different, but I just love it. Material quality-wise and, styling-wise, I just love it. Maybe it is love or hate or something, but tell me, are you Team Thomas on this one? Headroom with 189 or 6'2" is fine actually, and even larger here with the electrochromic roof. This is an option, and it will even give you some more headroom. And here, this is actually dimmed at this moment, and then we can undim it. That looks really cool, right? Goes also really quickly, and wow, if you look against the sun, it looks even more impressive. Interior overview, once again, of course, this new one motion grip steering wheel, they call it that way, is the most prominent feature. And the interesting thing is, when you have this special steering wheel, it's an option. You can also go for a normal round one. Then here, the dash, the whole instruments are 2 centimeters further away and also 2 centimeters higher to once again more fulfill the aspect of being a head-up display in one. But you also have a head-up display additionally. Interesting. The steering wheel here goes up and down like this, by the way. So like the normal steering wheel, and then you also have these buttons at the steering wheel, but you see what you're doing in the head-up display, which is kind of irritating, I find. On the right side here, 14-inch widescreen. Let's take a detailed look. The CarPlay integration is quite impressive indeed. This is also working wirelessly, and Android Auto is also possible, this connection, by the way. And here the Mark & Levinson sound system is giving us a very nice surround sound, like that. That's actually pretty cool. And the Lexus system itself, not that impressive. You also have a car internal GPS, which is quite responsive, and is also really important to deactivate a very special feature, and that is the screen beep. And listen to that. Really Yeah, so annoying, so good that we can also deactivate it. And now take a closer look here. This is the seat heating, this is the steering wheel heating, and this here is the normal climate unit. And then you can control it here. This is good to be still able to control the climate unit while driving in an easy way. But there is a fundamental difference between this main climate unit and the seat heating and the so-called radiant heater. This is also exclusive to the Lexus here, this new radiant heater. The Toyota probably will get it at a later stage than again. Supposed to save you about 8% of energy comparing to the normal classic heating, which is always activated when you have it normally on the vents and then set the temperature. So you have to turn that off to profit from this radiant heater. It is not infrared based. That would be a cool idea, right? Maybe that is coming at a later stage or something. Or recently ZF also present heated a heated seat belt, for example, also interesting idea. But here, that's how it works. There is, let's say, a separate heater in the top here, and then as soon as you activate the heated seat, then also here in the top, there is a separate heater giving you directly and very quickly warm air directly towards you, and that is overall a more efficient heating system. EVs are usually also focused about steering wheel heating and seat heating because then the body surface is warmed and not the whole air in the whole cabin. So yeah, it's one step further to make heating a little bit more efficient in an electric vehicle here. Here the light control is at the steering wheel. It's actually a cool function, why not? And the turning indicators have a separate stalk column. It's short behind the steering wheel, but I think that's a good idea in comparison to the Tesla where the controls are on the steering wheel. I'm really glad we still have a manual volume jog here, just the field below that, because you can press it, but it also reacts to capacitive, like this movement does the same, and that is a little bit irritating. Because one of the advantages of this new steering cockpit is you have a very clear view to the digital instruments. They are kind of basic though. And the head-up display, it looks like this then, here when you change things, and it's a little bit irritating, I have to say. And the whole quality of the head-up display is also not on the rest level like the rest of the interior. Here in the lower part, I have a nice camera view button like this, and you can directly access all the camera features. Other than that, you have two USB-C chargers here and one USB-C connector. Then you have the inductive charging pads down here. And this is the gear selector. Press it down for drive, down, reverse, left. I'm not sure. Not the biggest fan of this solution, but it's also not too bad. Then adaptive cup holders right here. And finally, the middle armrest here can be accessed from both sides, right or left. Oh, and look at that. The ambient lighting is also really nice here at the inside of the doors, being projected from right here. Then it gives this structure at the inside of the doors. Pretty cool. Interior in the rear here. First of all, doors also in this suede trim than here in this version. And the top part is also somewhat soft touch. Good build quality once again. Legroom, it's no problem with this EV platform. So there is some legroom left. Although you maybe see that relatively low. So you feel a little bit lost, so to speak. But also headroom wise is okay. It fits for at least 4, if not 5 tall adults. Seating comfort could be a little bit better. As I said, yeah, the bench could be a little bit higher and a little bit more upright, I feel. And then the middle seat is also fine because there's space here. No middle tunnel. Yeah, so indeed 5 tall adult proof. Then to the trunk or boot, electric hatch, of course. And then you can see here 520 liters overall. This is, by the way, here the difference between the rear bench. You can put it more upright or put it more to this sleeping position, so to speak. There you also have a difference in the trunk capacity. And then the length here is a little bit less than 1.40 meters. Same actually, just like with the Toyota BZ4X. And here in between is also 1.40 meters. At the lower part of the wheel arches, you can see here in this area you have even more space. And also some space underneath, for example, for the charging cable. To fold the seats, you really have to go around. You have this 1/3, 2/3 split right here. Does it have a frunk? No, it does not. However, interesting, look at that. Here is a Yamaha performance damper as dome strut for more stability. Interesting. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge, Lexus RZ. We start with an acceleration. Let's go. Plop, that's 80 kilometers an hour. So that was 0 to 80 kilometers an hour. Really quick indeed. Wow, impressive, very smooth. One electric motor in the front, one in the rear. That's cool. Of course, now directly to the most interesting thing here about this very version, the new steering concept, one motion grip or steer by wire. And I immediately feel it's something completely different if we compare it to the Tesla yoke. Because here the input is really precise and direct and you don't have to steer much at all. When I'm going slalom here, and I mean like a really wider slalom, look at that. That works with minimum steering input. So yes, you have to be somewhat careful with the steering input, yes, because when you accelerate it, it just steers basically just more. But what they also included here is the faster you drive, the less sensitive it gets. So you also can have a rather calm Autobahn experience, for example. So that is a very helpful thing. And when you are parking in and out, then it's getting more sensitive again, that you can easily ease the car in and out of the parking. That's pretty cool. So here now, about 50 kilometers an hour, it surprisingly doesn't feel that unnatural. So let's say it feels unusual, and in a way, the normal steering feel then feels more natural to us. But it's not that the, like this, let's say there's this transition, between different degree angle or something, that would feel unnatural. So I think it feels surprisingly good. And I was not a fan of the yoke steering by the Tesla, especially for parking in and out and also for the turning indicators. But here, for example, I have the turning indicator still with the classic stalk column. You see, it is connected to the steering wheel itself, but that's easier to control than I would have to press buttons on the steering wheel like it is with the Tesla yoke. So I think in this case it makes sense because you have free sight to the instruments, and you really have an advantage that you can keep your hands in the optimal position on the steering wheel, and this is also in a way the safest position. You are being forced to keep it in the right, not like doing like this, yo, what's up, this holding, or people, well, you can do like this, but there are people actually seriously driving like this, or maybe doing like this on the parking lot. No, you're basically led to keep the hands right here where they belong, and then you really have a good control over the vehicle. And I have to say, it's also a lot of fun indeed. So you can go in a good slalom, but it's also not overreacting. So we had normal steerings, which were maybe more overreacting in that case. So it is a lot of fun. And this also speaks for the whole vehicle, indeed, this fun factor. The batteries keep the center of gravity low. You have actually then a good weight distribution overall. The suspension is multi-link in the rear also. It's doing a good job indeed. So there's no special adaptive suspension, but so far is actually quite nice, although we have the 20-inch wheels here. Yeah, that's so much fun. When you turn in, that feels a little bit weird, right, Michelle? Okay, he's like, what do you think about steering? Okay, he's like totally flabbergasted, yeah. So when you turn in a little bit harder, it feels, let's say, somewhat special, I would say. Let me just ease into this lot here, and I show you what you mean. So, like this is the maximum. And there we go. And this is so much easier. When I do this kind of action here with a normal steering, I would steer all the way around, and here now reverse, that's it. This beeping sounds a little bit annoying, isn't it? And here, that's it. And then we're at the maximum once again. So this is really cool. I wouldn't have guessed that it's actually so helpful, both for parking in and out and for agile driving. It just delivers a special driving experience. By the way, also all steering wheel materials are all animal-free as well here, though the whole interior is actually. The driving experience itself is also pretty silent and smooth. We already experienced that with the Toyota BZ4X. Is there a significant difference between the BZ4X and the Lexus RZ in driving? This one here is quicker, told you that earlier, so like a second faster in the acceleration. The main difference is of course now the steering, but it will also be available for the Toyota later on. And here this one is also coming in 2025 for the Lexus RZ, so an exclusive insight we have then here for you today. It's a very cool experience indeed. Here now faster, let's see when I'm driving faster in slalom. Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's interesting. So now the reaction is less. I definitely feel that. So maybe when you would scroll back, or here when I'm just getting a little bit slower, take a look at that. So here at like, there's no one behind me, so like 40 kilometers an hour, I just let these two cars pass. You shall pass. And here at lower speed, when I'm going into the slalom, here, more input from the wheels. And when I go faster, and I do the same steering movement, like this now, 80 kilometers an hour, here. I think you can even see it on camera, that the vehicle hardly moves. In a way, this doesn't feel too natural in this case, but it makes sense, you know what I mean? So this is here a case of, yeah, it is something that is new and that is unusual, but it makes sense, the way they thought this through. And I think Tesla did not think this through completely, but Lexus did. And because they are still doing all the fine-tunings for that, this is the reason why they introduced it so late. This is also different philosophy, you know? Like when you're thinking about smartphone manufacturing something, or like software manufacturing development, and also Tesla, there's more the philosophy like, hey, something is not finished, let's push it to the market and then develop it while it's on the market and maybe gather customer feedback, but also customer rage. And Toyota and Lexus, they're more like, let's develop it all the way through and then push it to the market. The disadvantage is you're late to the game. The advantage is then maybe the things are more thought through. Very interesting, isn't it? Also from the body roll, there's hardly any body roll noticeable, so very good, very good result as for that too. So overall, I'm really, really happy with the driving experience here. It is smooth, it is silent, it is fun. The new steering also does a good job. I will also compare it with the standard steering pretty soon, and then we can really say, is the standard steering like really worse, or do both work actually or not? Yeah, that's we're going to find out about that. Do you feel that the front electric motor is super much stronger? Maybe a little bit, that you also feel you're getting more pulled from the front, yes. So it doesn't have this rear wheel bias when you accelerate out of the corners. But with the all-wheel drive vehicles here, it doesn't make such a big difference, because the electric motors, they both always have instant torque when you hit the accelerator pedal, and that's it. Here in the closer corner, interesting. So this really feels differently when you feel like, oh, the corner's getting a little bit closer than I thought or something, but it was still good control over the vehicle indeed. So it feels sometimes a little bit unexpected, I would say, because you are used to different mechanics of the steering wheel. But it was not the case that I would say like, hey, this was an uncontrolled feeling then. You still are able to control the car very well. You just have to be smooth with the steering wheel. So the mistake would be to overreact in these situations. Keep it smooth, keep it calm, and then you're actually also fine with that steering. The whole quality impression you get from driving this one is really high. It is a premium EV SUV, really nice. So you get somewhat, basically because of the interior materials, a little bit more premium feel than we have with the Toyota. That's the thing that the Lexus is doing better. And of course, some technology tweaks that they get earlier and then later on apply to the Toyota. But of course, the question is if it's worth the extra price. That's of course also about image and so on. But I really love the interior, definitely. It's pretty cool. Infotainment wise, of course, we can argue that there are better systems on the market, but most of the time you'll use Apple CarPlay and Android Auto anyway, I think at least. So, sporty, feels also quick here when I'm on speed and then accelerate out. Still, everything is possible. Recuperation-wise, they rather set it on a tone, let's say, let's catch existing hybrid customers. So they have not set it here on the way that we have here, by the way, outside the roundabout, easy to do. So they have not set it in a way that you have really strong recuperation. It's little recuperation, and most regenerative braking is done when you hit the brake pedal first. And that way you will rather have a better transition between ICE or hybrid customers and then the electric vehicle users here. So that's about the standard mode, the standard setting. What you can do is using these very tiny and sweet shifting pedals here at the steering wheel, and then you can 1, 2, 3, yeah, 1, 2, 3, left and right. Here this way I have strong regenerative braking. Let's see if I hit the normal brakes. Yeah, they stay. It will be reset then when you start up the vehicle once again. But that way, for example, here I have maximum regenerative braking. So if you more like this driving feature, you can also use that, and then you rather have one pedal driving feeling. And now we've switched to a different vehicle, but still with the steer-by-wire system, because I wanted to find out, is it just a fluke or something, or can they really do this new tech? They are still doing the fine-tuning, but I feel even though this is a second vehicle now, it basically feels the same, although these early prototypes are more or less all hand-built. Interesting is that we can also switch it around in the driving modes. Acceleration-wise, when I, for example, go from normal to sport mode, the throttle input does change, so I have basically a quicker throttle input and the power curve, but it's just that the power curve behaves differently. Like the normal mode would be like from minimum to maximum like this, and the sport mode would be like this. However, I specifically asked the engineer about this. The maximum power output, when you like pin it down, like I did in the acceleration earlier, that is the same in normal and sport mode, he said, because like the pinnacle is always the same, but the way to that one here in the sport mode, there's just more response from that throttle. Actually, very interesting. Let's check out how it is from the steering. So they said there is some difference, but it's rather minor. Let's see, normal mode. Or maybe, Michelle, can you switch it to sport mode?
Of course.
Sorry about that. It looks so funny when you're doing like this all the time, and the passenger is like dum 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 dum, like a pendulum. Yeah, I have to say, like from the driving mode, you don't feel so much difference in the steering reaction. Like sporty. Oh, there's the car key. Can you hold it? Sure. Okay. Sport mode, normal mode. A little bit, just a little bit. But the thing is, you have a greater effect here by the speed change, because here with the steer-by-wire input, you always have this change of steering characteristics depending on the speed. So that is the thing you feel more than the difference in the driving mode. However, we earlier experienced a situation where I was in the corner and then I was decelerating. Let's just repeat that, because that is a very interesting key aspect here. When I'm in a corner and then decelerate, the steering ratio does not change. And why is that? For safety reasons, that, for example, when I'm high speed in a corner, I would have, let's say, less reaction from the steering wheel. Then I decelerate, and usually when running straight, that would mean more progressive reaction from the steering wheel. And then suddenly I would turn too much in the corner. And that is the reason they have basically have this ratio on standstill when you are reducing speed in the corner. So basically while the steering is turned. Very interesting, and it shows how much challenge there is to come actually with the system, how much fine-tuning they still need to do, that you still get a somewhat natural and also safe driving experience while also experiencing all of the advantages of this new system here. And now the big question is, how can I drive now with a normal steering wheel? Will I say, I cannot drive any normal car anymore because this is the best solution ever? Or am I happy to go back to the normal one? Let's find out. Alright, now the normal classic steering wheel. Really? Incredible. Look at that. Have you seen that? When you directly switch from one vehicle to another, start with a steer-by-wire and just do like this, and that's it. And here you have to go. It's almost ridiculous. I mean, this is not super new, special, unusual than any other steering we've recently had. This is normal, good steering characteristic by a modern vehicle. And in comparison to the steering by wire, especially like the slow turning, parking in and out, back and forth, it really makes a ridiculous impression. I mean, can you hold the key again? Thank you. I can't believe that. It's the difference is so extreme. I would never have estimated that. Wow, totally astonished. And indeed, especially at slower speeds, turning in and out, and here, look at that. And also when you just go around, you know, easing in and out of a parking lot. Let's just try it here again. Here, look at this, how far I have to turn the steering wheel. And you know, with the yoke, I would have done like this maximum, and this to the other side, this and this. And here I have to do basically a full turn more. Wow. That is, again, I'm absolutely flabbergasted. And I have to say, it is then in comparison annoying to turn it that much around and stand still. So definitely a pro for the steer-by-wire. When you drive a little bit fast, and also for the whole, let's say, driving dynamics, for the agility, it is in a way more fun with the steer-by-wire system as well. So, because you just have to steer less and you feel a little bit more agile. So that's definitely a pro for that, for the new system. And I would say, would I take one, or would I stay here with the old one, with the more conservative one? Here, it is kind of light to steer, so there's not a big resistance. When you go into the drive mode select and go to the sport mode, you have a little bit more resistance. It's not such a big effect, just minor effect actually. There's no dead zone area, it's well tuned, it is also fun to steer it, no problem. I think to me, both is possible. Let me tell you why. The steer-by-wire, definitely when parking in and out, it's so easy to do that because you don't have to turn away all the way, front, back, left, right. And also at slower speeds and tighter turns, it's so much easier to do that and feels more reactive in a way. But then, after driving this one here for a while, you get used to it again and you think like, it also adds some calmness to the vehicle. Whereas the new system, because it reacts so quickly, it always tempts you to drive more agile. You know what I mean? And this one here is tempting me to drive less agile in a way. So I think it depends on what you like and what you rather prefer, what you want. Both have their thing, basically. I really like both. And the astonishing thing to me was that when I directly switched from steer-by-wire here to the classic steer, I would think like, I can never drive a car without this steer-by-wire system again, because everything else, like the classic style, is absolutely ridiculous. Why would I need to turn 2 times around? Doesn't make any sense. But then the more you drive the more classic, more conservative approach, and the longer you drive it, the more you get used to the classic stuff again, and you also feel, hey, wait a minute, that is actually calming me down in a way, and it has maybe a reason you have to do some more work at the steering. So definitely for me, pro and con, but not in a way that one is bad and the other one is... Both are really good and have their own thing. So I still think it's a good thing that they also offer both, that the customer can decide. but it will be a very, very tough choice which one to go for. The good thing for you is if you decide about buying this vehicle and with the one or the other system, you won't regret either because you will have fun and both will be fine. That's the good news. But which one to pick? I can't even take this decision from you because I struggle with the decision myself. I like really both. One more interesting thing here with the suspension feeling, driving dynamics. This vehicle we have here is equipped with the 18-inch wheels. And that is such a better ride. Wow. The 20-inch one wasn't super uncomfortable so on. But this one here brings so much more comfort indeed. These smaller rims, then more dampening from the tire. So yes, the 20-inch wheels look better, but I can strongly recommend that you stick with the 18-inch wheels for a better riding comfort. Now it also serves this luxury Lexus purpose I expect from Lexus. The 20-inch wheels, more in a sporty direction definitely, could be a little bit better, and because they also don't have like special adaptive suspension, no air suspension or whatever, I think you are better off with the 18-inch wheels. Another question is, what about the final consumption, energy consumption, and the real-world range for this premium EV? Temperatures today, not really freezing, but also not warm. It looks sunny, but it's actually quite cold from the air temperature, and we had different trips and different vehicles here today. And the consumption between 18 and 20 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers, that's around 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour. Not that efficient. That is a crucial thing with this EV. And also the battery size, it's just too small. That's the thing. That's actually the most major thing with 64 kilowatt hours net. It is smaller than with the competition models. And that's why the range is also lower. As a secondary vehicle, maybe that's not a problem. And everything else, from the interior build quality, from the materials and colors being offered, what a great premium feeling. This car offers so much fun and experience. I really love it. And also both steering technologies, the great technology used steer-by-wire is awesome experience, but also the classic one brings a lot of calmness to it. I really liked both. The question is, can you live with that as a secondary EV for more smaller trips? But if you plan as a primary EV and also need it for longer trips, then it can be a problem indeed. That's the thing about this vehicle. If you want to compare it to the competitors, do it right now.